of 2026, and it brings us upon round 2, game 2, a doubleheader coming your way, starting with number 4 York and number 1 St. Viator. The Lions lead the series here. Welcome into the broadcast, everybody. Wes Anderson to my left. My name's Luke Jordan. We'll hear from Max Anderson down on the York bench eventually, but York yesterday, not how they wanted things to go. They were outshot, outplayed, outbeaten, 4-0 win there for the Lions. And we talked about it off the air. You got to get rid of that game. It's in the past for a reason.
Yeah, it's one of those, and our friend Max Anderson always says, burn the tape. One of those. The Lions scored on their first shot of the game, and from there, it seemed like they just rolled on and pretty much swept the Dukes away. We know the Dukes, they don't give up easily. Similar in their first round matchup against Lake Forest, they went down in that first game, came back and won the next 2. We look for them to do the same thing.
Albert Przwara has scored a goal in every single game of the SHL playoffs so far, and this St. Viator Lions offense in general has been red hot, but it's York on the other end trying to change things around here in the green jerseys. We've got a crowd that is slowly but surely making its way in here. It's an orchestrated green out for the Dukes, who are in all green, and a white out for the St. Viator Lions. Just about everything white on their uniforms except for the pant shells and navy helmets with the Red Lion logo on the crest, Wes. And boy, this St. Viator Lions, it's the best in the SHL for a reason. They can really spread it out.
Yeah, between Loftus, Simitroff, and LeBoy, it's really hard to defend that top line. All of them averaging over a point per game in SHL play, and they really lean on those 3 to get the job done up top. And then on the back end, they've got Calder Turpin having a career year.
Who will be the answer on the Dukes? And the head coach, Evan Poulakidis, is down at ice level with our sideline reporter, Max Anderson.
Thanks, Luke. Evan, you had a physical and at times chippy game yesterday. How do you get your guys focused on playing playoff hockey and avoiding bad penalties?
Well, look, if they didn't wake up yesterday after our start, then, you got to start on time. Whether it's chippy or not, a lot of that nonsense you got to wash out. You got to play the game. And we didn't play our system. And we got ourselves in trouble giving up 6-2 on ones, and you're not going to beat them doing that.
LeBoy, Loftus, and Przwara have been an absolute force all season, especially here in these SHL playoffs. How do you keep that line in check?
Well, they didn't hurt us yesterday. Their other guys hurt us. They didn't really do much against us. I thought if you take away the first 5 minutes, it's a 1-goal game, and their kid came up with some nice saves. So, we just got to get ourselves into the game. We have to extend the game longer and see them play under some pressure.
Thanks, Evan. Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Back up to you, Luke.
And thank you, Max, who talked to Evan Poulakidis. First year with the York Dukes after a long period at Glenbrook North. Over 620 career wins, 4 state appearances, 7 Final Fours. And he could add on all those lists here with the Dukes team that is not only routed for a chance to come back in this series, just like they did in round 1 against Lake Forest, but also poised for a great state run as well.
Yeah, Luke, take a deep breath when you say all that. Some Hall of Fame type career for the head coach of the Dukes down there. And, he's itching for another one tonight. He, as you heard him talk, got off to a bad start, something that we know you can't do against this Lions team. We already talked about the firepower they have up top. You can't have 6 odd man opportunities. At some point, even if the Lions don't score in those first 5 minutes of the game, 6 odd man opportunities are going to lead to the pucks in the back of the Dukes net.
Sam Schwartz making a quick announcement, but that is not the starting lineups then. We are getting right to it. Now on the St. Viator end, you've got Tim Benz, the head coach, the 2024 SHL Coach of the Year, and newly the 2026 SHL Coach of the Year, winning that award 2 times in the last 3 seasons as St. Viator taking over the number 1 spot, the first team to do it in 6 years for a team named not New Trier.
Yeah, you talk about teams that have high state championship aspirations. They are the St. Viator Lions.
Public address announcer Sam Schwartz will now relay the starting lineups and national anthem. there you have it. The starting lineups brought to you by the public address announcer and public address voice of the Scholastic Hockey League, Sam Schwartz, who does a great job as always. He's got this game here. And St. Viator, if they get this game, they're moving on to the SHL final.
Yeah, and they've got their crowd behind their back, too. A great crowd for a Sunday night. We know President's Day is tomorrow, so but probably a late night for the parents, but everyone's packed in here. Got a good atmosphere. We knew it. Max talked to the head coach of the Dukes earlier. It got chippy last night. I expect it to be the exact same here tonight. And I'm looking forward to puck drop, Luke.
And it's so hard as a hockey player when it's in an atmosphere like this, one of the biggest atmospheres you'll play in your high school career, to keep that mental tempo and try to stay out of the box.
Yeah, that we talked to the coaching staff of the St. Viator Lions. That's what head coach Benz, he said, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. Try and stay even keel. He even admitted it's even hard for the coaching staff to stay even keel when it gets that tight, when it gets that chippy, when it gets that tense. But so expect the maturity of the Lions to come out tonight.
Let's take a look at the starting netminders. On the visitors' side today, it's the number 1 St. Viator Lions, and they go with arguably the number 1 goalie in the state, if not for maybe Charlie Trepp, but he's making his case throughout the entire season. He's now got the top goals allowed average and top save percentage, a .937. Trepp has a .936. On the other end, Levi Brown, as the Dukes present an all-senior starting lineup when it comes to skaters, but he himself a freshman, making his 4th playoff appearance right here. Ready to go at center ice. It's Griffin Hayes and Pepe LeBoy. White on green, that includes the audience, hundreds in attendance. And we are underway. St. Viator wins the opening faceoff. And boy, did they get out to a hot start in game 1, scoring the fastest SHL playoff goal in history from that guy right there, Albert Priswara, who fires in deep. That came in just 14 seconds, therefore making it the quickest game-winning goal as well in SHL playoff history. And he's already got a couple of good looks at the puck and a good forecheck here. Pirati now to the right side for Pacente. Chip down to the line, LeBoy. Backhand feed, cut off by Hayes in the corner. Pepe LeBoy now goes to the blue line. Finn Hogan with the blast, blocked out in front. Pacente will be able to shovel it out of there. Campazano and 2 others already changing for the Dukes in a 45-second shift. Passion drags and swipes one wide. Up the left side now, Hogan. Senior defenseman looks to go vertical. It's captured at the red line by Shorter, who looks for Passion. Couple of AAA players on this York team. Shorter, one of them. You also got Jimmy Spano. Those two collectively played with the Chicago Reavers, one of the premier AAA organizations at some point in their respective careers. Newhouse gets a touch and puts it in deep. Newhouse was the cherry on top to 3 goals on the first 3 shots of game 1. And Levi Brown exited game 1, 2 goals allowed on 2 shots, no saves recorded. And a move that Evan Poulikitis and Ben Stein describe as just something to get the team fired up and get them back into play. But in the end, it did not end up working.
Yeah, it's something that you expect, too, from the Dukes netminder. He's a freshman, too, right? He's bound to have some bad games, and I don't even think they're going to put that loss on him either. But expect him to respond and rebound today. Expect a big game out of him, too, if the Dukes expect to win this one.
Guys, both of you have talked about the crowd so far. This is, without question, the biggest SHL playoff crowd I've seen outside of an SHL championship game. This is like an SHL championship crowd right now.
Yeah, we can even feel it from up here as more people start to trickle in. You got a local legend to my right. Luke Jordan seems to know everybody up here, giving them stick taps as we come on air. So I just expect this crowd to grow as this night goes on.
You know, I walked into the building about 40 minutes ago, and I walked in right as the Dukes were stretching, taking warm-ups. I walked in, they all started to applaud me because they exposed me when I said they were going to get swept by the Lake Forest Scouts in the first round on the Scholastic Sit Down podcast, and now I took them to sweep the Lions, expecting them to be fired up from it, but they did lose game 1. But they respect my decision, it seems. Nice save there by Brown, steering it aside to the near side. Taking it down low, wraparound, Civic shot, he scores! And once again, another quick start for St. Viator, looking for the SHL final.
Yeah, Luke, it looks like Levi Brown just loses his post here as that puck starts to find its way around the back of the net. You'll see it here Quick reverse there by Civic-Troth. Really smart to keep that one low. Hard wrap. And he gives the Lions an early lead here, just less than 3 minutes into the frame.
York, such a great team when scoring first this season as well. 14-1-3. And they're the only team with one regulation loss besides St. Ignatius, who is now out of the playoff picture in the SHL. But they do not get that decision here. It's Connor Civic-Troth, the SHL Player of the Year. And returning Lion, striking first. Pirati at the York back line will swing it around the boards. Good hit by Andrew Papadopoulos on Pepe LeBoy. It's those little things that can really churn some momentum over time, Wes. As Ryan Loftus sends it back in. Here's Pirati. Vertical pass can't be handled by the senior Frankie Sanfilippo. We're 3 minutes in. Viator had 2 goals in game 1 at this point. Fed in front, they almost found a second there. Good hit, but maybe a little bit late there as a tie-up as DePinto had his world rocked.
Yeah, big collision behind the play there, Luke.
And now Loftus fires in and around. SHL goal-scoring leader, now 20 total between the regular season and the playoffs. Campazano shaves it ahead, but now Loftus takes it back and will play it for his all-state defenseman, Tommy Speck. St. Viator, one of 3 teams in the entire state of Illinois to have an all-state nominee at every single position. And Albert Prizwara, who leads this team with 7 playoff points, was left off that list. Safe to say he used it as some fuel to the fire.
Yeah, it just shows you how much depth this team really has. You talk about on the back end, too, with Calder Turpin dueling with Charlie Trapp there for potentially goaltender of the year. It just shows you how deep this team can really be.
Here comes the 6'3" Mason Shorter down the right side of the ice. Shorter trying to get involved offensively. It comes into the slot. Campazano rifles well wide. Or should I say high of the crossbar. Jiong Hong, a bad giveaway. Now Passion tries to feed it in front for Hayes. Can't connect. Work to the far side of the blue line. Pretzi slammed into the St. Viator bench. And this pass cannot connect on the far side for the Dukes. Now worked for Matthew Ciccone. Good hit at center by Shorter. Pretzi plays it for Passion. Passion weaving out to the right. And now Popiel breaking free in his own end. More collision in between the blue lines. And icing waved off here. Civic-Troth once again below the net. Tries to feed it in front as it pinballs around and eventually ends up on the tape of Prizwara. Sent across Popiel. Adam Popiel with a shot, chested away, but the rebound up for grabs. Eventually shelled into the corner. Prizwara pumps the brakes. Looking for a give and go here, and boy, they were not far from it.
Yeah, that's 2 times that the Lions just missed in that high slot. As you see, they're really trying to feed that as they get Levi Brown to move from his left to his right, just trying to cause some confusion, in front of the Duke's net.
Here's Prizwara. 5 goals in the playoffs in just 3 games. Hat trick in game 2 against Glenbrook North, and in each game 1, respectively, 1 tally as well. Here is Sean O'Leary feeding it ahead. His brother Patrick out of the lineup with an ankle injury yet again. He has not appeared in the playoffs for the Dukes. A key defensive piece, causing this Dukes bench to really make some mix-ups on one of the biggest stages of the year.
And you talk about the odd man opportunities that head coach Evan Putakidis was talking about. That's someone that can really stymie that and limit that in a game like tonight. But we'll see how the Dukes respond so far, keeping that third guy high, really limiting the amount of odd man opportunities the Lions have had so far in this first period.
Only 5 total shots between these 2 teams so far, 3-2 in Viator's way. Pirati down the right side. Where's a check from Stefan? Now it's Michael Ciccone. Viator breaks free out of the zone. Matthew Ciccone, that one pinballs up to the point. Pukala keeps the zone. John Colpins taking a shoulder there from Shorter. Colpins recuperates on the near hash mark. John Colpins trying to swing it out in front for Mason Stefan and sticked away by Shorter. Zone held once again by St. Viator. Comes around the wall now for the senior Pirati. And Gavin Brown gets a touch on it as well, but behind the line, and this will roll its way down for an icing whistle.
Guys, these 2 teams better get used to playing each other. Obviously, the game last night, if York's able to force a game 3, but Both teams will also be heavy favorites to win their sides of the bracket in the state tournament as well, likely setting up a semifinal matchup. Same situation's going to play out later with New Trier and Loyola, who will also be heavy favorites to make their sides of the semifinal as well. So between league playoffs and state playoffs, these teams are going to get mighty familiar with each other, and we've seen the chippiness the last couple of days.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's just more fireworks to come then.
Speaking of another one, Brown steers it aside, but we got a high stick now. It's waved off. Top 8 seeds in the state of Illinois for the High State Tournament as that one roofed up into the ceiling. All SHL teams. So this SHL playoff picture with the top 4 could very much be the semifinals picture, as we mentioned. And this already the 5th meeting between these two teams this season. They met, of course, 3 times in the regular season. I think people forget York took that season series. Viator won the first game. York answered back, winning the following 2, 4-2 and 3-2. And then Viator winning game 1 of the playoffs, so we're even at 2 here, and that's why a lot of people are not counting these Dukes out, even with the present moment being down 1-0.
Yeah, one of the few teams in the entire year that's able to beat this Lions team twice. I think New Trier might be the only other one. So the Dukes know how to beat this Lions team. It's just a matter of can they do it, can they pull it out, and to do so, they're going to have to come back in this one.
York has been especially impressive against the top teams in the SHL. They also won the season series against New Trier 2-1. Here's Hogan. That pass out of reach. And O'Leary tracks it down, icing waved off.
Saw Wes's arm go up, and I agreed. I had my arm up down here as well, a break for Viator.
Yeah, one of those. I think the Duke defenseman got it just before it hit the goal line. So good no call there by the refs and some good hustle there by the Duke defenseman.
Gumbach now, right side. Taken away. Albert Priswar looking to make more magic. Ends up at the point. Popule plays it across. Point shot. Wide left. LeBoy now. Down below in the office is Priswara. Now glued against the boards by Keaton Nix. Sibigtroth up top. A windup and a stick block there by Barton. Dukes shoot right up the ice. Sanfilippo and Barton on an aggressive forecheck as it ends up right back with Gumbach. And he just puts it all the way down to Turpin. Oh, just wide, so icing called. Smart play there by Turpin to put this puck back in the Duke's defensive zone.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to play that there for a second, but just a great play there by Barton on blocking that shot. To beat a team like Viator, you're going to have to do the little things right. Sticks in lanes, bodies in shooting lanes in order to really slow down this offense that we know can be so lethal as we saw last night.
Top right of your screen there. He needs to be lethal as well. Levi Brown. Sensational games 2 and 3 in that first round. He stopped 38 on 40 total shots between the closing 2 of that series. Lake Forest won game 1. And the Dukes won games 2 and 3, now finding themselves in a consecutive position just like that.
Yeah, Luke, I always say the Dukes roll when Levi Brown is on his game, and he can really change the game when he's making big saves. Just so impressive that he's only a freshman.
7th best goals allowed average among starters in the SHL. We had a 2.45. Bretzi up the wall looking for Passion. Zone held by Speck. It ends up off the dome of Loftus. Now DePinto digs it loose, throws it to the corner for Loftus. Ryan Loftus back for DePinto. They score! Give and go. It's Loftus to DePinto. 2-0 St. Viator with just under 8 minutes to play in the first frame.
Yeah, Luke, this all stems from the Lions just winning a board battle here on the near side. And as we go to replay here, you can see that puck finds its way to Loftus, and he's able to make a great pass over to Pinto. Beats Brown on that blocker side, tracks it a little bit too late, and the Lions have a 2-goal lead here halfway through the first period.
Levi Brown now, 4 goals allowed in this series, 3 saves. How can the freshman get his rhythm back? Guess we'll have to wait and see. Duke's got to get churning on the offensive end as well. Here's Maurer. York actually outshot St. Viator for a good majority of that first period as the Duke goes stumbling down. Fed out to the red line now, Pacente. Off for Pirati. Popule tracked back in deep. St. Viator on the quest for their first ever SHL championship. They won the coach's trophy for their first time ever, which is the President's Trophy of the SHL, the regular season championship. But on a ranking of that, the SHL championship and the state championship, it's nowhere on Viator's list.
Bit of a nightmare start for York, obviously, but for Levi Brown specifically, that's now 4 goals on his last 7 shots faced. He really needs to find it in net right now if York's going to make a comeback in this game.
Yeah, Max, that's a good point. It's tough, too. The crowd, the atmosphere, the intensity. It can, at some point, it can get to a freshman goaltender like Levi Brown, one of those you'd hope to see one of his defensemen come back there, give him a tap on the pad, give him a head nod or something just to get his confidence back in this game.
Fafinski's rocked into the wall by a Viator line. That's Koenig. Just a couple of Dukes going silent in this series so far. You got to rely on a senior like Mitch Fafinski, who is a speedy threat, but he's without a goal so far in these playoffs, as he's the one who puts it down the boards for Maurer. Vicente holds his own, uncorks one towards the net. Glove save by Turpin, first time tested in a while.
Yeah, it's a good save, too, by Turpin. A little traffic there by Maurer, just flying through. A little flash screen right in front of his eyes, as we see here on a replay. See right there, he tries to tip it down, but Turpin able to track that way all into the glove. And honestly, from the Dukes' perspective, you only given up 5 shots here through the first, half a period. So defensively, they're doing things the right way. They just need to ramp up things on the offensive side of things, only having 3 shots so far.
And the recent goal from Gio DePinto, his 3rd goal of the playoffs. Ryan Loftus grabs his 5th assist of the SHL playoffs. In between the lines, Przwara has to back off. Pukala takes possession. Jake Pukala's sister, Ella, committed to University of Minnesota Duluth. I believe she's in her freshman season there.
So hockey runs in the family is what you're saying.
Oh, it's clear. Their father, a great coach as well. Brown works it up the wall. Pirati winds one up, and Turpin, through some traffic, still gloves it down.
Yeah, I like the idea there of throw the puck on net, but if I'm Pirati, I'm waiting just a second longer to wait for a screen or a little bit more traffic in front of Turpin. As we mentioned, he's a great goaltender. He's gonna make the saves on everything he can see. So the more you can create confusion and havoc in front of him, that's going to just elevate those chances and elevate the chance of those pucks going in and getting behind him.
Stopped all 22 in game 1. As Viator leads this series 1-0. They just need one more game, and they'll have the SHL final hosted. Both of these teams have played games at this Rosemont Arena in the past. These are really the 2 teams that scheduled home games here the most. York makes a lot of sense. St. Viator, I guess, as well, but I almost wonder if it's kind of a psychological game as well sometimes, Wes, where you kind of almost want to get a feel for this place and make it kind of feel like you're home for these SHL playoffs.
Oh, 100%, Luke. It's one of those, you know how the puck's going to bounce off the boards. You know the lighting. It's one of those, you talk about the goals that Jeremy Swayman gave up yesterday in that USA game. It's just the depth perception can change so much from rink to rink. So the more you can acclimate to that, the better you are going to be in these type of big games.
I always found acknowledging the ceiling very important as well. This one blasted well wide by Matthew Ciccone. It was something where if you wanted a flip pass out of the zone, you need to know how high you could arc it out. Unless you hit the top and you end up back in your own end and nothing happens.
And Luke, that's such a good point too, because you talk about an arena like Winnetka that has that low ceiling. You can't just flip the puck out, right?
No.
You almost have to throw like a saucer pass up the middle or wherever you're trying to put the puck. But on the opposite side here, you got a little bit higher of a ceiling, so you could make that flip pass and almost free up one of your offensive players in the neutral zone if you need to.
Not sure if it's coincidental, but a lot of these SHL teams have very high ceilings for the most part. Of course, anybody who remembers Barrington in the SHL, that was not the case. They played at Barrington Ice Arena and
one of the
Crystal Ice House, and that thing was maybe 10 feet tall.
That and two of the colder arenas that you'll find in the state of Illinois.
You know I'm warm right now, Wes. Don't remind me. Chipped in deep by the Dukes. Still not much operating on the offensive end for York. who might end up scoreless throughout the first 4 periods of this series. Przywora can't track it down. Gumbach runs into the near side referee. Sanfilippo forks it ahead. Lays some contact as well, and the puck is up for grabs on the near side boards. Hayes will go to forecheck on Pukala. Trevian's watching behind that glass where St. Viator breaking out from. New Trier Loyola coming up after this one here on the SHL network as well. Gumbach goes tumbling down. And here comes Mitch Fafinski. We talked about his speed. He breaks loose now. Spano collects, puts on a sharp angle shot, and that's punched away by Turpin. Leading the lines the other direction. Here's Civic Troth with already a goal in this game. Feeds it in front. Przywora with the shot blocked off. That is a nice soak up from O'Leary. Spano getting nifty, but he's bodied off the puck by Hogan. An icing call. 2:26 to go, first period, 2-0. St. Viator leads a 3-0 first in game one. Eventually Mason Steffen able to find one in the second as well. And that's how the first of what could be 3 resulted. Face off, one back to Finn Hogan. Kolpins tries to stretch it up ice for Steffen. Anthony Pacenti had it taken away. Pacenti now recovers. Former experience with the Chicago Fury AAA club. And he's the one back in on this puck to regenerate the breakout. Good forecheck from Steffen. Now it's Sean O'Leary. O'Leary off the glass and out. Michael Ciccone is back. A couple of players with 14 penalty minutes in game one. And Michael Ciccone was one of them. There was quite a brawl in front of the St. Viator student section. I was here. We were doing the game from the top of the bleachers, and you could not see what actually happened. Shorter with a shot, and that's covered by Turpin.
Yeah, you talk about all the penalties that were taken last night on the flip side. We haven't had one through the
first
first
very clean right
15 minutes. One of those we talk about. We talk so much about the intensity, about how much these teams don't like each other, all for no one to even be in the penalty box through the first 15, something that I expect obviously to change as this game goes along, but that's something that could be so crucial for the Dukes here. You get that power play, you get that man advantage, you start snapping things around, you build a little confidence. Even if you don't score, you gain some momentum here in this game.
Maurer now collects it bottom of the circle, centering feed, swiped out of there. Maurer gets it back. The York captain works it to the point for Shorter. Now Pirati won't shoot from the point that time. And here come the Lions in full force yet again. DePinto, who's already scored. Loftus, who set him up, is down in the corner. Gio DePinto in to reinforce. Held in at the point. Popiel stretches it across point shot. Hogan deflected and soaked up by Levi Brown, the freshman.
Yeah, it's a big save there, too, by Levi Brown. One of those we talk about, how is he going to get his confidence back in this game. You can see on this replay here, just good push right to left. And a little bit of a screen, too, in front. Can't tell if that hit something on the way in, but either way, able to track it all the way into the pad. Almost beat him 5-hole, but was able to squeeze those knees together and come up with a big save here for the Dukes.
LaBoy against Maurer here. And Ethan Maurer wins it. Swung around on a slap shot from Shorter. Now Pirati with the shot block. Looks for Campazano. Luke Campazano, a key contributor to the point totals for York in these playoffs. He's got 4 assists in 4 games. Griffin Hayes, 4 goals in these SHL playoffs for the Dukes. Missed game 1 against Lake Forest, came back and scored 2 goals in games 2 and 3 each.
It's one of those that the Dukes are going to look to come back in this game. He's one of those people that are really going to be crucial for them in this. Him and Spano, there's 2 players that they need to get going here, as you mentioned. Both left off the score sheet last night, and you're going to try and find whatever they can do to get pucks past Turpin, but so far through the first frame, they have not been able to do that.
Quick shot off the draw, steered aside by Turpin. Just a half a minute left to play in the first frame. If you're new to us on the SHL network, there is no ice make after the first, is after the second. And Brown hangs on for yet another whistle. That is his 6th save of the game. Sorry, 7th.
Another strong save here. You can see back on top of his crease, able to track that one all the way into the glove. Something that you love to see as a goalie coach or a head coach or goaltender, seeing that puck all the way through. And I think that there's no surprise there. There's no there's not a lot of talk about his play in the first game. So it's good to see him respond here in the first period. Even though he's allowed 2 goals, he's made some crucial saves down the stretch of the last 2 minutes to give himself and his team some confidence going into the second.
He really only gets better as the series goes on from the small sample we've seen in his high school career. Single-digit seconds. Speck beaten to this puck. Could be a late chance for the Dukes. Centered in front. Spano waiting, shooting, put it wide. What a great look at the end for the Dukes, but they just entirely missed the 4x6. And St. Viator will lead 2-0 after the first.
Spano had about a quarter of the net. If he just finds anything on net there, he probably brings the Dukes back within 1.
Yeah, Max, it's one of those that you've got to force the goaltender to make a save. Yeah, you can see it there on the goalie cam. It's one of those where I think he knows the clock's coming down to the end of the period. He's just trying to get that off quick, but I think if he just takes a deep breath there, pauses a second, picks his spot, the Dukes might be able to find their first goal of the series. But outside of that, as we check a replay here from the Civic Troth goal, outside of that, defensively, I thought the Dukes played well, right?
I think so as well.
I think one of those we talked about to both coaching staff. You talked to the Dukes coaching staff. The odd man breaks were an emphasis that they wanted to limit. I think they only gave up 1 there in that first period, a 3-on-2. That ended up honestly being a 3-on-3 with some great back pressure there. So a lot of confidence from the defensive side of things here for the Dukes. Now on the offensive side of things, they got to get going a little bit more. They had, 5 shots in that period up until the last 2 or 3 minutes. So if they can gain some confidence here on the offensive side of things, we could potentially see a tied hockey game going into the third period.
And you really have to test Turpin too, right? Because we talk about it. 8 shots on goal in this first period for the Dukes, but maybe the one most threatening shot came wide of the net right at the end there.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's a cliche. Good things happen when you put the puck on net. You have to force the goaltender to make a save. I think it's one of those that the volume at some point is going to get to Calder Turpin, so as many pucks as you can throw out his way, the better. Max.
Just kind of reading body language on the York side, guys. They need something to go right through these first 17 minutes of this period, and frankly the entire game yesterday. Nothing seemed to go right for them. They need a break, whether that's a power play, whether that's just a good shift to get them going, get them in a positive mood, because it's just not working right now.
Yeah, well, you can see here as we get a glimpse of the bench, it's some hanging heads down there on the opposite side of the Lions bench. Everyone's up, everyone's engaged. So like you said, Max, even if it's just a good chance that Calder Turpin stops, something that ignites this bench and gets them going is going to be a positive here in the second period.
Calder Turpin and the St. Viator Lions have held the Dukes scoreless through 68 minutes of playoff action here in the second round of the SHL playoffs. But we still play another 34 minutes for a reason. We are far from over here in Rosemont. The first of a doubleheader, and Finn Hogan just blows a tire. That could have been trouble. Don't know if any of you folks saw the USA play today where Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes just ran into each other. I got some sort of weird thought of that for a reason, even though it was just one person falling.
Yeah, if you kept that clip going, you would see Jack Hughes blow a tire on the power play just fouling that.
Priswara sends Pasenti's stick firing, but not the puck. To the point, Hogan can't hold. Passion all over his case. Now puck stationary just on the edge of the official circle. Some late shoving going on between Passion and Hogan. Now they back off each other. No penalties in this game so far, and both sides hoping it stays that way, at least on their end. Hogan point shot soaked up once again by Brown, and he does not allow a rebound as the Lions get to 10 shots in this game.
Yeah, Brown, we could see there talking over something with the officials, and another good save through a little bit of traffic. We see a great stick there by the Duke defenseman, and then that following that chance that we just saw again with some traffic in front. Brown able to stay square there, get that right in the crest of the wide and freeze things down.
Jimmy Spano pulls it ahead for York. Left side of the ice, tries to go between the legs and could not succeed. Now feeds it out in front, bouncing puck. Fafinski missed Maurer, and here comes Newhouse. Now for Loftus. Loftus found Newhouse on the third goal of the game yesterday for St. Viator. We got a delayed penalty coming to the Dukes on a bit of a late hit. And St. Viator, with the most power play goals in the entire SHL this season at 21, will try to add on.
Yeah, clicking at 23.5%. You can see here a little bit of a late hit. Looks like he clips Loftus' leg as well. Shorter is going to go.
You just heard the referee mic, a new addition here to the SHL playoffs. So we've seen it started to be added at numerous different levels of hockey in Illinois. Something really cool that usually the scorekeeper, somebody in the scorebox, will bring, and the entire arena can actually know what's going on if they don't understand the hand signals.
Yeah, Luke, I had one of those. I forgot we even had it. I was going to talk my way through that. I should just let the ref explain what was going on.
Here's Loftus. He'll swing with Sibigtroth. LeBoy now with a screen in front. Couldn't connect the shot on the cage. St. Viator in the playoffs, 2 for 9 on the power play. Their 10th opportunity right here in game 2 of round 2. Watch the cross check, and now it's loose for Przewar to try to stuff it home. Work back up for Loftus, who usually quarterbacks his power play. LeBoy swiped off the puck. He'll take things back. LeBoy, and that was a miscommunication, ends up out of the zone. Here's Ryan Loftus. Many are making a case for him to be the J.J. O'Connor Player of the Year, and they have a good case at that. Loftus can't hold there, though. I might have announcers jinxed him.
It's one of those, too, in this second period. We always talk about the ice gets so cut up and chippy and choppy that sometimes those pucks just hop over your stick.
Sibigtroth didn't care, though. He got one on the pads of Brown there. Darting up the ice. Now here's Loftus doing the same. That one blocked once again. York especially good with shot blocks yesterday, and they're continuing that today. Newhouse on the near side. Pressure funnels in. Przewar now pulls it out of the pile. 40 seconds left on the man advantage. Gio DePinto slides across the ice for Newhouse. Newhouse, the junior, center blue line, Sibigtroth. Now DePinto with some space. Work down to the goal line, Przewar. Albert Przewar centering feed. Swiped out of there by Fafinski heroically.
Great stick there by Fafinski. That was going to be a great chance in front without that. And here we go, 2-on-1, come back the other way.
Bad change by York, and Newhouse tries to capitalize. Brown makes the save and sprawls on the rebound.
Yeah, your goaltender always has to be your best penalty killer. Brown with a few big saves here to keep this thing 2-0. We see Sibigtroth, a lot of speed coming up this right side. Fumbles it just a bit, but the line's still able to get a great shot on it. Kanek just muscles that on net. You can see Levi Brown, he's receding back of that net. You can see his feet almost turn and curl in. That's him trying to stop his momentum coming backward, able to stay high up on top of the crease and make a great save.
Pukala from the point, up for grabs in front before snatched down by the left-handed glove of Brown yet again.
And it looks like he's got his confidence back. One of those where it's a little wishy-washy of a rebound. You can see Ciccone coming in there trying to knock that into the net, but Levi Brown knowing exactly where that puck's going to be and able to freeze it down once again. 5
seconds left on the penalty that was called on Mason Shorter. First penalty of this game. And the Dukes win a crucial face-off, swing it up the boards. Weird bounce, and now Shorter out of the penalty box, and Nix comes off the bench. Dukes are on sides, and Hayes will swing off after a long penalty-killing shift, leaving Nix all alone to get bullied down below the goal line. He'll now get some help from Will Brown. Brown spun around. Steffen now forks it the other way. Mays and Steffen finding Matthew Ciccone. Snuck by Kolpins just across the blue line in time. Steffen swings it down. Give and go attempt here. Steffen tries to stuff it home and can't do so. Sanfilippo just clears, and that is a tactical move by the Dukes, who will get to change here in the long change of the second period. Icing was not called. We're not exactly sure why. I guess they're saying maybe one of the Viator defensemen could have reached out with their sticks and tried to keep the puck from going all the way down. Koenig to the side for Bayer. Cam Bayer sprawls out in the high slot. Now leading Gavin Brown, the senior, the other way. Brown lengthy shot blocked. Tommy Speck all over his case. Gavin Brown scored the only goal in the quarterfinals of state last year against New Trier that eventually ended the Duke season. He's known for playing very solid in big games. They need somebody to step up as we're nearing the halfway point of game 2. Sanfilippo slides it across. Here comes Gavin Brown. Brown, left side, fires a shot blocked by Tommy Speck, but he hand passed in the process.
And Luke, it looks like Cameron Bear behind the play is going to go for a penalty. I wasn't sure what happened, Max. Not sure if you got a good look on that.
That's the whistle then.
I saw something about 30 seconds before the call, but I didn't think that's what they ultimately called. We're looking at some replays down here, trying to see if we can find it.
Yeah, it looks going for an elbow, and you can see his palms up in the penalty box. But Max, this is what you said. The Dukes need something to go right. They finally get the man advantage. Luke, let's see if they can take advantage and cut this lead in half.
Under 13% last year's unit. They're now nearly up to 20 in the next season, and they need something here. They're 2 for 8 so far in the playoffs coming into this game.
Ended up finding a bit of a late high hit there.
Shout out Sam Schwartz in the penalty box. Find that one pretty quick. It's one of those when we're looking at that puck coming down towards the Lions net. We didn't really see what was going on behind the play, so thank you guys for that.
And deep now, Maurer takes a hold on his backhand. Dukes can really set it up now. Desperately hungry to cut the deficit in half. Will Brown mauled into the wall in front of a bunch of York students. Shorter at the goal line. Mason Shorter, the defenseman, controlling from below the net. Now Will Brown feeds it top of the circle. Pretzi goes center blue line. Spano to the far side. Maurer waits. Slot shot kicked away by Turpin. Pretzi follows up, and once again the right pad saves the life of Calder Turpin. Brown goes back for Pretzi. Christopher Pretzi now for Will Brown, rifling a shot blocked, and LeBoy will turn it out of the zone. And very solid first minute of the power play there.
Yeah,
for
and
Dukes.
Luke, not to cut you off, one of those, I like the patience of the Dukes. One of those, you get the man advantage, you can get a little too antsy. They didn't force that puck to the middle of the ice there. Were able to get in their sets, move the puck around, and got 2 great opportunities on Turpin.
Campazano nearly offsides there. Some folks think so. Spano controlling the blue line, puts one on. There's a chance, and a backhander. Turpin got a piece of it. Oh boy, we'll get a look at that when we can. That one might have ended up in the back of the net.
Oh, what a save by Turpin. Campazano waited him out, but I think he gets a paddle on that at the very end.
Here's Pretzi right back in. Christopher Pretzi feeds it back to the point. Oh boy, Luke Campazano with hands on the heads of the Dukes bench after a crucial mistake there. They'll have to re-enter with just 16 seconds and counting left on the man advantage. And a relentless Viator forecheck. Colpin's looking for a shorthanded goal of his own. St. Viator with 5 shorties on the season. York thinking they got a penalty there. It's just a hand pass.
Yeah, we're going to get another look at this. The puck finds its way through some traffic. You see right there, looks like it was going wide. But
it was going to go wide, but still.
Turpin still got his stick on it. You can see Campazano made the right move to pull that to the backhand. So I think if he shoots that right away, that's just going to go straight into Turpin's pad. But in doing so, he's not able to get enough on the shot.
Oh! One of those flying saucers. We saw 2 of those between New Trier and Loyola.
That happened so quick. Ciccone just trying to muscle that puck down the ice. Looks like everyone is in the stand is going to be okay.
3 scorching ones in the playoffs of round 2, and nobody's been hurt, so good sign.
Head on a swivel here at Rosemont, no doubt.
No netting for the audience. Many claim to like it, but there's your one big con right there. Safety.
Bite your tongue right now, Luke.
Hey, but if there wasn't netting at Northbrook, Max would have never caught that puck, right, guys?
That is true. Just flashing the leather up in the booth you are, Mr. Max Anderson.
You guys should see the level of disappointment when we have to broadcast at a rink with netting that Jimmy has. It's immense.
He's over here shaking his head now.
Wonder if we had the SHL pick Rosemont just for that reason. It's probably up on the list. Michael Ciccone able to hold for just a moment. Single-digit minutes in the second period, 2-0 St. Viator. No goals in the middle frame so far. Dukes have started to play much better. But oh boy, here's Loftus feeding across. One-timer, they score! Matthew Ciccone on the board yet again, and it's 3-0 St. Viator.
And Luke, this is what I was talking about in that first period. You've got to do those small things right. It's one of those where it looks like the Dukes have a chance to get this puck out of the zone. But instead, it ends up on the stick of Ryan Loftus. You can see right there, and just a great saucer pass backdoor. Nothing that Levi Brown can do about that. He's able to get over there, but that puck is just so well placed by Ciccone. Beats him high to the blocker, and the Lions have a 3-0 lead.
Well, this York coaching staff said it was very difficult to try to motivate these players to come back from down 3-0, but now I think you can maybe find that, considering your SHL season is on the line.
Bit of an extended discussion happening right now between the officials. I'm not totally sure why.
I mean, the one thing I could think of, no, it's not, there's no chance it was offsides.
No, and the goal certainly is on its post. Not like that got pushed off.
Yeah, not sure.
Turn on the ref mic.
Yeah, we're not sure what would cause that after the fact, but we're going to play on here.
So it stands 3-0 St. Viator. They scored 3 on the first 3 shots in game 1. They've got 3 on the first 14 shots in game 2. Papadopoulos looks to center. Now Pukala takes away, feeds it ahead for Ryan Loftus. St. Viator looking to go 4-0 in the playoffs so far with a sweep of GBN. Now York next on their list, and they extend the lead to 4-0. At first it's Matthew Ciccone, now it's Michael Ciccone.
Yeah, one of those, that's just bad puck luck from the Duke side of things. It's not a whole lot that Levi Brown can do. This puck hits his own defenseman and then hits Ciccone in the head. He picks up his own rebound and is able to beat Levi Brown.
Peter Kalianis is coming in yet again. Levi Brown pulled in both games of this series. Evan Poulakidis, Ben Stein saying that move in game 1 was to get their guys fired up. And they will try to do it again. There is still plenty of time to play. No need to get ahead of ourselves here. Over 25 minutes of action. Przwora has his shot blocked by Shorter. I'm sorry, that was Pirati. And here's Luke Camposano on his high horse towards the net. Swiped away, bouncing towards the net and covered by Turpin.
That's a tricky save, too, by Turpin there as that puck was bouncing. One of those is, as the weather gets a little bit warmer, Luke, you know this, the humidity inside the rink starts to ramp up. One of those things you try and control from a temperature perspective. But what happens is that the ice gets really chippy. The skates start to dig in. The puck starts bouncing a little bit more than it would if it was a little bit colder outside, something that we've seen here the last few minutes.
It's a great observation from the former AAA goaltender, Wes Anderson. Got Max Anderson alongside us on sideline. Luke Jordan up here with you on this Sunday. Kick away save by Turpin. Sent to the far side, and Turpin shoulders away another. Boy, has it just been his year. All-state selection, leads the SHL in the 2 most important statistics per se when it comes to individuals. Goals allowed, average, and save percentage.
Yeah, Luke, and he's only faced 12 shots, but he's made 2 or 3 great saves that those pucks go in. It's a 2-goal game, right? And the Dukes are right back in it, and I think that's their mentality right now. Is just try and find the first one, get that momentum, and then let's roll from there. But like Max said, it feels like everything's going the wrong way for the Dukes. So until then, they don't have that momentum and that pizzazz that we normally see.
You said it best. And the Dukes, we mentioned 8 shots in the first period. None of those were really deadly. A lot of those good chances coming as of late. And all it takes is one to snowball. Shorter, freight trains over Stefan. And here comes Ciccone left side. Matthew Ciccone looking for Kolpins. He's swept out in the slot. That's going to be a penalty here on the Dukes. As they bleed out further here, leading away for St. Viator to potentially extend the lead to 5 on the SHL's second best power play unit.
Yeah, Shorter's going to go there for a cross check. One of those that I think he's expecting Kolpins to get that puck right in on the net, and since he doesn't, it's going to find him in the box.
Not easy to be in that box right now if you're Mason Shorter. Second trip of the day and his team down 4. And another 2 minutes could potentially burn off without York scoring a goal. And now, we're going to go back to even strength, 4-on-4. Bit of a late hit there on St. Viator's end, and York can catch their breath now. It's not just a 5-on-5 either. You got more spread out ice, increasing your chance of scoring here. I would like this if you're the Dukes.
Yeah, Luke, that's one of those that happened so fast. I'm trying to get my notes down. I didn't even see it, but opens up the ice a little bit here as we're going to go play. We're going to now play 4-on-4. A great shot there of the St. Viator student section.
It's a whiteout orchestrated by their entire organization. Parents and other fans as well were expected to wear white. First thing I saw when I walked in, a St. Viator dad, white hoodie, white sweatpants, white shoes. They rose to the occasion. And here comes St. Viator doing such on the ice as well. 3-on-1 and a save from Peter Kalianis. Put into a tough test coming into relief, Levi Brown, and that's quite a sensational opening stop.
Yeah, I was going to say, tough ask on the first shot that you face in the game. A 3-on-1. Doesn't overcommit to that far side. You got Pebble Boy at the doorstep right there. Doesn't overcommit. Is able to stay square and make a great save.
Kalianis, just 7 appearances in the regular season. It was Levi Brown's crease really ever since late October when he came in the net for an SHL Network Game of the Week against New Trier. York would go on to win that game in a shootout. Here's a rebound in front for LeBoy. And from then on, it was the freshman. But here in the playoffs, Kalianis coming in to relieve for the second time in 2 games here in round 2. Campazano looking across for Passion, can't connect. Jack Passion, hounded by Michael Ciccone, now backs off, works it to the blue line. Pacenti, point shot, and Jake Pucala just ate it off the cage like nothing happened.
Yeah, you could hear that all the way up here in the booth, Luke.
That just is, my head would be ringing. Here, Priswara. Sticked out of play by Peter Kalianis.
Luke, you made the point. Obviously, nothing is impossible, but certainly a tall task against the #1 team in the state for York. But they also have their next state game tomorrow. So that's certainly something they're going to want to think about, not just in terms of getting out of here healthy and without any costly penalties, but also just feeling better about themselves. Being down 4-0, 2 games in a row now. The back half of this game for them has to be a focus on playing the right kind of hockey heading into tomorrow.
They'll take on New Trier White in that game. That is New Trier's 3rd team. New Trier's 2nd team beat Carmel last night, and now Loyola Gold will play New Trier Blue in the Sweet 16. Winner of that game likely has an SHL Network broadcast coming their way in the quarterfinals. Here's Spano from a distance, blockered away by Turpin. Ryan Loftus steaming down the right side of the ice. 1 solid assist for him. Otherwise, I'd say Dukes have defended him fairly well for how explosive of a player he is. Shot blocked, but he'll follow up. And Kalianis gets a piece of it, it looks. Just 9 seconds between the opening penalty and the second, so it'll be a 9-second condensed power play. That'll damage their statistics, but I think York could care less about that right now. Spano, shot blocked, recovers it on the near side. Goes across the ice for Pretzi. The offensive defenseman gets to the forehand and has his shot blocked. Hogan took a stick up near the back of the head. This will carry on. Ryan Loftus was not ready for that vertical pass, desperately needing a change. Spano over the line, and they're going to deem it offsides.
And Luke, even though they're up 4-0 in this game, the Lions are doing a great job of getting into shooting lanes. The last 2 or 3 minutes, the Dukes have had some great speed coming up the ice through the neutral zone. Gone to shoot and really test Turpin, but only to find, like you said, a helmet, the shin pads, a stick. So doing a great job here, even though they're up 4-0, of doing the little things the right way.
St. Viator now outscoring their playoff opponents so far here in the SHL 20-3. 20-3. Say that 3 times.
It's one of those, is they're proving why they are the #1 team in the state right now, not letting the foot off the gas by any means, and what seems like to be them cruising through the first 4 games of the SHL playoffs.
This team was projected to be the 2nd seed until just about the final week of the regular season, where New Trier went on a losing skid.
Yeah, one of those is we did that game when New Trier gave up 4 goals to Loyola Gold in that 3rd period, and ever since that time, they lost 3 or 4 in a row is what it was, and it's really what gave.
It ended up being 4 their last 5.
And that's what gave the Lions the ability to win the #1 seed, and they're proven ever since then why they deserve it.
Hong now leads it ahead for Ciccone, swiped away by Shorter. Colpins will put it right back where it came from. Under 5 minutes to play in the 2nd period, and I said this yesterday on the Viator Hockey Network broadcast. You have to score in the second period if you're the Dukes. They have a chance here. Hayes, who they relied on all playoffs, can't get one on there. It's recovered by Gavin Brown in the high slot and sticked into the near side corner. Now Popiel goes vertical for Steffen. Return feed, Bear to Steffen, over the line. Steffen, who had the 4th goal yesterday for St. Viator, tried to find the 5th, but that's punched away by Kalianis. Nearly put to the test there again. Keaton Nix, stretch pass, Gavin Brown. Brown waiting, centering, just out of reach, and you get a large ooh and ah from the York student section. Really haven't heard them that loud up until this point. They know one goal can break open this game with a bit of help as well.
Yeah, look, they've got a great support system here in the arena, just waiting to explode when that first goal goes in. One of those that we expect that'll give the Dukes some type of life here in this game. So we're just waiting. We're just seeing and hoping that they can score that first one to get things going.
Yeah, nobody has left this building yet. There is still belief strong within the Dukes, who have pulled some crazy comeback wins in their school's history. Przwara centering feed and a backhander kicked away by Kalianis. Both of these schools not historically great within the state of Illinois, but I think if you ask either of them, they would say it's their year to pull in that state championship. Yeah,
we always talk about the pesky Dukes towards the end of the season. They somehow always found a way to make it to that final game, just not able to ever really complete the state championship winning portion of that. And one of those that they expect, even though they're down 4-0 in this game, they expect to be one of those last 4 teams standing in the state championship.
State semifinals will be Sunday, March 1st. You can catch those broadcasts on the SHL network. Campazano goes below the net for Maurer. Centering feed falls through. Campazano pulls the trigger. What a save by Turpin yet again. He just doesn't let anything through.
Yeah, he's looking really composed in the net tonight, Luke. One of those that he's almost trying to make a statement. He knows his team's up 4-0. He knows they might even add on another, but he's looking for another shutout here tonight.
Nice move to the slot by Przwara. Save by Kalianis, who gloves it.
And Kalianis has really been a spark plug since came into the net and has made a few great saves. Another one here in tight. It's a great glove save.
Luke, real quick, you talk about the state playoffs coming up. Of course, the SHL network in partnership with AHI once again to broadcast the semifinals, but also because of the Scholastic Hockey League, there will also be state quarterfinal broadcasts as well on that 28th. So if you're out of town, we'll have those for you on the SHL network, and possibly a TV partner picking up a couple extra games besides those state championship games. So a lot of excitement, a lot of attention, a lot of people want to watch this hockey.
Yeah, it's going to be a marathon of a Saturday before those semifinals. 4 straight games on the SHL network. Just so much great talent we're able to acquire here on the network. We're happy to bring you guys those games when that time comes.
Yeah, that'll be busy. All Red Division quarterfinal games on Saturday, and then 2 Red Division semifinals on Sunday alongside 2 combined division semis. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. Senior Trier there, they sponsor our goal cams, and GBN, especially Joel Schneider, a big help. We thank him so much. Still helping out with our SHL network staff. One of the most smiley people you'll see on our staff as well. Always happy, able to greet anybody.
He's always in a good mood.
Seriously, I've never seen that guy have a gloomy day. And York trying to avoid that type of gloomy day right now. You're saying, Max?
My mic died on me, but what I was going to point out is those 8 games in 2 days, we're going to need to get Jimmy the Wiz an IV or something. It's gonna be
he's going to be sick no matter what. We all know that's happening. Big game Jimmy.
Every single year, it feels like.
Flu game Jim is what we should start calling him. But, yeah, he just remarkable what he does behind the scenes to give you, the viewers, all the graphics and the replays. All of that is him just working the scenes behind to the desks to our left, just doing such a great job throughout the season.
One of the best producers I've worked with, one of the worst immune systems I've worked with. Here's Newhouse in front. What a save by Kalianis. Jiang Hong, who scored yesterday, unwinds one from the point. Another save, Kalianis. It might be on the goal line. It was in front of it instead. Tough to tell. We're on the other end of the ice, but we can tell you Kalianis was able to shut the door.
Yeah, one of those he had to look behind just to make sure that it didn't creep across the goal line, and Great save, a great chance in front by Newhouse, as you mentioned. Stays patient, doesn't go down too early, realizes that puck comes in tight, and that's when he just shuts the door down low, realize Newhouse can't elevate that over him. And then another great save through some traffic there. It looks like it's about to squeak through the 5-hole, but he closes the legs and keeps the puck out.
9 saves to open things up for Peter Kalianis here in the second period. Coming in for relief for a second consecutive game. Stopped 22 shots on 24 in game 1. It's a deep York goalie room that they run, truly. I mean, Kalianis has played pretty solid. You got Oscar Fish, who had to appear in the state quarterfinals last year. He's now a senior. Well, Levi Brown just slightly better than the rest up to this point, and he's deserved that spot. If you're just tuning into high school hockey and seeing just this series and not any other artistic work from Levi Brown, don't be fooled by a first impression.
Yeah, Luke, 9 wins and 15 starts. That's something to be something to notice, right? And especially as a freshman, he's done a great job. It's one of those you hope he's able to find his confidence as this state tournament starts.
Here's Viator looking to extend. Softly worked down the boards by Matthew Ciccone. Both Ciccone brothers have scored, accounting for half of the Viator goals today. It was Matthew with his second of the playoffs, and Michael finding his first. 15 seconds, Hong, vertical for Matthew Ciccone. Dukes with just one last rush here, and they have to move fast. All the way out to the red line, and Papiel will just send it back in. 2 periods through, and it is 4-0 St. Viator once again in game 2 as they look to move on to the SHL final.
Yeah, Luke, one of those. We talked about how the Dukes needed to have a short memory coming into this game, and it just feels like, as Max mentioned, nothing seems to be going right for them right now. No puck luck. They had some great chances on their one power play, but they haven't been able to beat Calder Turpin. So right now they're going to have to take some deep breaths, just try and relax. I know it's so hard to do that in a tense environment like this, and see how they can muster up enough confidence, enough energy to try and put 4 goals behind Calder Turpin.
Well, in the world of sports, we've seen crazier things, and that's why we play the third period. We'll get to that third period in just about 11 minutes when we return here on SHL Network. For now, 4-0 St. Viator through 34 minutes of play here in Rosemont. from Centennial Ice Rinks. We welcome you in live on the SHL Network YouTube.
Grady Cup, including one on a penalty shot.
The one with your team.
All right, thank you.
Of course. Chris, back to you.
Lead here with just about 6 games left.
Ooh, what a grab! Max just grabbed it out of the air.
Just doing my job, folks. Just doing my job.
Must have been to the Wes Anderson School of Goaltending up there. Glove saving a beaut, I must say, my man.
Draw to the left, and this one
Oh,
coming up
that's
near us. Just a couple of feet away.
Make a catch, Max.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Offense to really crack. Let's see if York can do anything here. Here they come on the bit of a rush. Pass over to Campusano, the one-timer, he scores!
Getting another look. I don't encourage you to read the lips of Evan Polakidis there.
There's another one. Did you get all of them, Jim?
Oh, he's compiled. That is excellent work by Jimmy the Wiz. That's fantastic. PBN bench all game.
I told you he should have put a helmet on. Coach Polakidis laughing that one off.
Mulvey, been such a strong defensive pairing for years for Jim Philbin's squad.
Oh my goodness.
What a snag.
That was an incredible snag from Jimmy Philbin.
Guys, he can do it all.
That was... we were so confused because he didn't even make it look like he caught it. No flash of the leather, just
Yeah, it was like the
literally
puck
moved his arm
disappeared,
across
and then
his
he was like-
body and just like picked it. Just picked it. Players back on the ice here at Rosemont Ice Arena, and we're back on the air on SHL Network. Game 2, round 2. St. Viator looking to close it out and move on to the SHL final the SHL Coach of the Year, the mastermind behind it. It's Tim Benz. Max Anderson has the interview.
Thanks, Luke. Tim, you guys have 8 goals through 5 periods against this York team. What's working so well these last 2 days?
Our red line, as we call them, the Priswara, Lavoy, Civitroth line is really buzzing. Albert compliments those two like Goose and Maverick in the movie, right? So they're doing a great job. They're putting pucks in the back of the net, generating offense.
You guys are a period away from the SHL championship. What was your message in the locker room before this 3rd period?
Hey, keep it simple, stay smart, right? We just got to do our job, get pucks deep, win the blue lines, and we'll be in a good spot.
Thanks, Tim. Good luck. Luke?
Thank you, Max. Max Anderson, our sideline reporter for this one, held the play-by-play mic for the classic rivalry of Loyola and New Trier following this one on the SHL network. For you folks, just make sure you click off of this one when this concludes. There's another live stream link right there if you're new to YouTube. Wes Anderson and Luke Jordan up here with you. And boy, oh boy, St. Viator in a similar position, but they've actually got off to a quicker start here. The same start as they did in game 1, and they're just moving like crazy.
Yeah, one of those emphasis that I love from Tim Benz there is be smart, right? He knows that they're pretty much in the driver's seat. They're in cruise control. They have another state game coming up this week. All they need to do is not hurt themselves coming into that state game and potentially coming into that SHL finals. I don't expect them to sit back by any means, but I don't expect them to get any in the extracurriculars after the whistle either.
That's a great point you make, Wes. If there's one big mistake you can make in this period to give these Dukes a chance, it is a lack of discipline. And this St. Viator team has been pretty good with being disciplined on the entire season.
Yeah, and it's one of those, we talked about all the chippiness and all kind of the hatred between these two teams, only for them to take 3 penalties through 2 periods. At some point, I'd expect, that pushing and the shoving, maybe a little fisticuffs like we saw last night to come through, but we haven't seen it so far.
Back underway, York moving left to right in green, and they're the ones needing to acquire 4 goals in the next 17 minutes or else their SHL season is over. Granted, they still have the state tournament, and these two could very much meet in the state semifinals. Something to keep a note on. York has the 4 seed, Viator the 1. Glenbrook South could very much find themselves in a semifinal seed as well as the 5 seed. Here's Passion. Jack Passion out to the right side. Tries to make move on Hogan, comes in for Hayes and kept off the goal line by Calder Turpin like he has all game. Save number 17 right there.
Yeah, great opportunity there for the Dukes to get on the board. And Calder Turpin just so square to the puck. You can see just a little slight push to his right to square himself up there. Just gets that one right in the breadbasket. Makes a tough save look rather easy there and keeps this thing 4-0.
He's now got 38 saves on 38 shots against the Dukes in this series.
You're really testing that jinx there, are you, Luke? One of
I'm
those?
not saying the word. I keep it respectful.
I know you do. It's just one of those. You made a mention to it a little bit earlier as well. Something I clocked. I'm the goalie up here.
Yeah.
We don't pick favorites, but when the opportunity does present itself, we try and root for stuff like that. I'm not going to say the word either. So we wind down here. The Duke's looking to, break that streak here in the 3rd period.
St. Viator was controlling it pretty well in the last minute yesterday, so I did mention that it was going to be a blank word for Calder Turpin with like 20 seconds left. And even I was starting to sweat a little bit. I was like, what if I jinx it?
Yeah, Dylan.
Hold on. Isn't that proof, though? Doesn't that convince you that it isn't a jinx?
20 seconds.
I mean, if it's a jinx,
Max, can either of us even skate from end to end in 20 seconds?
There's a big difference between 16 minutes and 20 seconds, I will say that. But I have seen that jinx work in real time, both on the ice as a goalie and in the broadcast booth with our friend Dylan Ward.
And I know Andy Petzinger he does some games with us here on the SHL Network. He works in the FPHL right now for the Indiana Sentinels, and he even posted an announcer's jinx of his own, blanking somebody's, clean sheet per save. Me and Max are talking soccer terms.
For what it's worth, I think Dylan's got multiple examples over the years on the SHL Network of some jinxes.
Yeah, I didn't want to completely throw him under the bus there, Max, but yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Look, I don't think it affects the game because it's not possible for the goalies to hear us, but I don't need either of these fan bases coming after my name.
Yeah, that's true.
You already give them enough ammunition.
Right? Yep, I said York was gonna get swept by Lake Forest, and they were all over me, mentioning me in Instagram comments, and it was all friendly banter, but I give them credit. They proved me wrong, but now it's St. Viator trying to prove me wrong. Both of them will have my number now. Just not a... Hilariously enough, I picked 3 of the 4 quarterfinals correctly, and that one I got wrong. I just got smoked.
Can't win them all, Luke. It's
No.
okay.
Gavin Brown. Backhand feed for Fafinski. Top of the circle shot blocked off. Recovered by Brown in the corner. Goes up for Pretzi. Pretzi down the wall for Brown. Deflected into the slot. Fafinski pulls it aside. And looks down low for Andrew Papadopoulos. Pretzi, good hold at the point on the far side. Gavin Brown works it down the boards. Looking for a give and go, but it's intercepted by Michael Ciccone. Matthew Ciccone, now in deep. Ethan Lee, the one here on the forecheck. And it's worked to the center ice circle for Gavin Brown. Brown looking for York's first goal here of the second round, and Nix nearly had it. Still loose out in front. A battle for it in front of the crease, pulled out by Popiel. Stretched across ice for Koenig, who now finds Bayer left side. Koenig laying the body. Now Pretzi. Forced the other way by Connor Sibiktroth. 31 in this game, nearly 2. Good save by Kalianis. Connor Sibiktroth, the SHL Player of the Year. His second goal of the playoffs earlier today. Pretzi to the left side for Gavin Brown. And this York team, their organization, they have been incredible this year. These two at the varsity 2 level might play each other in the semis. It depends on the 2-7 matchup, I believe. That's going to a game 3 in the AHL, but if the 2 wins, it's a 1-4 once again.
And we're having some fun on the broadcast, guys, but this feels like a really important period for York. Being outscored 8-0, like I mentioned with Tim Benz, to start this third period over the last 2 games, that would shake any team's confidence. They need to find something here in the last 13-plus minutes before their state game tomorrow.
Yeah, Max, even if it's a goal that they can just rally around, or, you know, some good chances to really force Turbin to make some saves, just anything really to find a little bit of confidence that they can roll into their state game, as you mentioned. So we'll see if they can just ramp things up just a little bit as these next 13 minutes tick off.
Ryan Loftus sneaks by Sean O'Leary. Loftus centering feed, backhanded just wide of the cage by Gio DePinto, as those two almost found each other on the score sheet for the second time this game. Frankie Sanfilippo with a hard hit. York's been ticking up the physicality here early on in the third. Looking for something to get some momentum. Shorter goes vertical, and now Will Brown chases in deep. Shots on goal, 24-19. I want to go back to my point as well. York, their JV team, 3rd in the SHL. Their girls team, the #1 seed in the state of Illinois. As we've got a little bit of extracurricular activity as Turpin hangs on to it. There's a bit of a late shove. Well, should I say a bit of a late? That was well late. Had that phrase stuck in my mind, I guess.
Yeah, and it's important for York to be smart here, too. It's one of those is you don't want to disqualify yourself from the state game that you have tomorrow. So, you know, even though you're down 4, you're trying to chip away here. You're trying to gain some momentum or some confidence, as we've talked about. You still got to be smart, and you can't do dumb things after the whistle.
Well, this has no relation to this game because York will still play in the state playoffs. But there is this interesting thing that does exist, and it's called senioritis. Sometimes seniors in their last game will just leave it all out. But I think the state of Illinois has done a great job getting rid of that. They actually implied a rule in the state playoffs that if you are to do something ridiculous and pass the line, your club actually gets fined a numerous amount of dollars. It's an interesting fact.
Yeah, it's honestly a smart rule that AHI has instituted, as you mentioned. One of those when people feel like they're on their true last leg, they start to lash out. a bit, as I think this is going to go down for icing here.
Shout out to our sponsors. The third period is brought to you by Glenbrook North Hockey Club. I got it right here, Max.
That's well done, and obviously the last sponsor here, Joel Schneider, back off of the injured list, back with us here on the crew. He's got the close foul camera, that close shot you just saw of Calder Turpin, courtesy of Joel Schneider. Back, he's on the mend and back with us here at J&M Media.
And glad that he is back in the, I shouldn't say the booth, but on the camera there, as you mentioned. So glad that he is feeling better.
Civic Troth feeds it across for Pukalo.
Just to give you an idea of his dedication, created a custom seat for himself because he couldn't stay away from the rink any longer.
Talking about someone who just truly loves the game and loves the SHL network.
Is there any way we can get a Joel cam going? Just at least for this third, right?
Like a camera that just follows Joel.
Yeah. I mean, watch him turn. He's doing a solid job following this play here.
And I see he's not following doctor's orders. He's back on his feet, not sitting on his chair. That's how dedicated Joel is,
Yeah,
guys.
you can see him nodding his head as you're saying that too, Max.
You know, something I learned from this network is that a lot of camera guys have those mats just because you're standing on your feet so long, it hurts. I'm thinking about investing in one of those as a broadcaster. Call me weak all you want, but I'd be comfortable and you guys wouldn't be.
One of those, I'm surprised you don't have one already, Luke. One of those just nice and sturdy to my right.
Don't give me ideas. At the ripe age of 20. Here comes Michael Ciccone, left side. Just fires in deep. Sean O'Leary. Down and around the boards. Don't forget, New Trier Loyola coming up next. Might end up a bit past the projected start time.
We've seen that matchup so many times in an SHL final. I don't know that I've seen it in my time for an SHL semifinal. Also, like you guys mentioned, would line up to be the state semifinal if they both win their respective brackets.
Here's Spano, backhand try, saved by Turpin. And I really do think if you get these two teams in a state semifinal game where it is simply one game of do or die for your entire season at that point, you're going to be getting a different game than this one.
Yeah,
Game's at least going to be closer.
Yeah, 100%, Luke. One of those where, whether they admit it or not, they know they've got more games to be played in the state tournament here. So, maybe not giving their all 100%, but once the state comes around, you know, we're going to see that do or die mentality that you talk about.
Breakout pass intercepted by Newhouse, but he couldn't feed it through to Loftus. Brown now looks to stretch it up the ice, but it misses Spano, icing waved off. Nearing the halfway point of the third period, St. Viator looking to be the host of the SHL final. Here's Fafinski. Just lodged into the far side corner. Shorter threw it right through the slot. It's our blind side. And it's yours as well, I'm just realizing. But nothing much happened, it seems.
It's one of those, the students are so lined up on the boards like that, it's hard to really see the puck when it comes to either side, on either part of the near side of these boards. You can see in our immediate right down here that the York faithful just paraded around the boards, making it hard for us to see anything close.
Nix roofed that off the target. And I would tell them to go back and sit down, but where are they going to go? It's full in here, at least from what we can see.
Yeah, and a near capacity crowd, some would say standing room only. You can see there's people even surrounded around the nets.
There's Praswara. State quarters and semifinals will be at a not significantly larger, but larger West Meadows Ice Arena. I know it holds over 1,000 at least. I remember St. Viator New Trier last year. What a game that was. And that place, I've skated at West Meadows since I was 4 years old. I've never seen it that packed other than a Chicago Wolves preseason game, where, of course, every seat is filled.
Yeah, one of those is on Saturday night as well, so expecting some big crowds at West Meadows for the quarterfinal and semifinal games.
Turpin hangs on. 7:08 to go in the third period. Here's a look at Jimmy Spano with that previous backhand try. But Calder Turpin just is nails.
Yeah, in cruise control on the blue paint for the Lions, just making things look very easy. Even some of those high danger chances that the Dukes have had, it's one of those where he's just taking it off the chest or just making a big pad save, just making it look so routine.
Here's Brown, and Turpin makes another stop. Think our hearts dropped, thinking we jinxed him. Not there.
Just a tad bit there, Luke.
I know, especially as the former goalie, you felt it.
It's one of those. I know how I'd feel if I thought someone was purposely trying to jinx my bid. It's a nice little windmill save there, even though it looks like that puck was going wide. Just some showmanship out of the Viator netminder.
Calder Turpin had an .889 save percentage in the first round. He has a 1,000 save percentage in round 2. He also wasn't under a lot of pressure as Viator was able to blow right by GBN in 2 games. They outscored him by a total of 12-3.
It's one of those that sometimes those stats can be a little misleading where,
right,
he only gave up, 3 goals over those 2 games, but it's the lack of shots that gets that save percentage to be so low.
Here's Pretzi back in his own end. Fed through for Hayes. Stick lifted, puck loose. Hayes with a cross check there, and he's going to the box. It's about the most undisciplined play we've seen of this game, and heck, that's not bad for the worst one.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Culpin's able to get right up. A little dangerous hit there towards the near wall. You can see he's skating up, or actually staying on the ice, but glad to see him up on his feet.
Here's Civic Troth. St. Viator works so well with the extra attacker, and it's Culpins who nearly lodged it home in front of the crease. At the end of yesterday's game 1, Viator had a power play, and they just about lodged off a minute at a time. Just keep away, 6-on-5. I clicked the wrong button there, so you didn't get to hear the ref mic. Sorry.
It's one of our newer pieces of technology that we're using, Luke. It's okay. By this time next year, we're going to be pros at that.
That was just a lack of hand-eye. I pressed a button, just the one that has no factor on the broadcast here. Pasenti just gave a right-handed shove to LeBoy before the puck was dropped, and Pepe LeBoy is telling him, you're down 4-0 again. Probably some other sprinkled words in there, and linesmen are going to spread them apart, but they're still on the same hash mark, so no social distancing here. Speaking of social distancing, St. Viator has not been to the SHL final since 2020. LeBoy across the ice for Civic Troth, blocked there by a diving Pirati. Michael Barton working the other way. St. Viator, another chance to add on. Dukes have been a solid penalty kill. Civic Troth saved there by Kalianis. York, one of 3 penalty killing units in the playoffs to still be 100%. The other 2, New Trier and Glenbrook South.
Yeah, it's one of those where New Trier had one of the worst power plays in the regular season. So one of those, it's either your penalty kill or your power play is going to should be towards the top half of the league if you need to be successful. And we talk about New Trier Green not giving up a power play or penalty goal against on the penalty kill yet. So something that's why they've been so successful here in the SHL playoffs.
At the moment, by the way, another New Trier GBS note, those 2, the second and third best third period differential, plus 12, right? St. Viator's got that top spot, plus 27.
Wow. It's one of those, it's got to be good in the final frame. It's one of those, your good teams know how to close out games like that. So differential of that magnitude really just shows you how good they could be when it comes down to the wire.
Pasenti playing physical. Gets Newhouse off the puck. Now Matthew Ciccone couldn't make a move there on Pirati, who goes shoving at Stefan. Things might have ignited there. Good clear head there by St. Viator to not get involved. You can see some frustration starting to ember from the Duke's end, knowing that After this series, they could have 1, they could have 2, they could have 3 games left.
And you know, the hope is that they'll have those 3 and win all 3.
Might be a 4th as well.
I was
So they
gonna say
got
4. Yeah, 4 sounds about
round
right.
of
if they're
32,
round
round
of
of 16, quarters, 5? All right. Well, I guess I could have taken something from math class. In high school.
We'll get it all figured out once the state tournament gets underway for us on the broadcast side of things.
That's why you don't try to assume. You can be off by a pair. I said 3, and then I was like, I don't think it's 3. It's probably 4, and then I was like, oh, it's actually 5. It just goes to show the gauntlet it is. And Illinois having to win 5 in a row. Interestingly enough, if you're a playing team, you have to win 6. So that's tough in its own, especially when you're a seed that low.
It's one of those where it really truly feels like March Madness at that point.
Oh, yeah. If we actually combine the red and combined teams, we would have close to a 64. We might be right on it. No, because 23 combined and we got 30. We're close. I think we might be right at 60.
Yeah, we'd be just under it. A few teams would have to have first-round buys if we were to go to that combined seeding that you're talking about.
Oh, third period chatter, things that just will never happen. But it's interesting to talk about.
I was going to say, we are deep in filler here in a 4-0 playoff game settlement.
I mean, imagine we were on a radio feed.
Extra episode of the Scholastic Sit Down live from Rosemont.
Yeah, Max, I'm vying to be, a special guest on there one of these days, even though I think I was on there last.
I was about to say, you were on there last year.
I was going to say, if Wes hadn't been on at this point, I sort of remember him being on.
Speaking of radio feeds, congrats to you, Max. Lead play-by-play voice now of the Chicago Fire of the MLS, one of the big sports organizations in the second city.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Luke. It fortunately is not going to conflict much with the playoffs coming up, other than the quarterfinals. The SHL, or I should say the Red Varsity quarterfinals are same day as the home opener on the 28th, so I will not be in the building for the quarterfinals, but I'll be right back the next day for the semifinals.
That'll be one heck of a weekend for you.
Talking about a man who doesn't stop working, Mr. Max Anderson, whether it's flying to different conferences for his regular day job or trying to juggle 2 broadcast gigs, the man, and all the work that he does to just get us the talent on air besides himself. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes that he doesn't get a thank you for, so just giving him a big shout out to Mr. Commish down there between the benches.
I appreciate that, Wes. It's all because I love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it, but you all make it much easier. Sam Schwartz down to my left, too. Everything he contributes behind the scenes. You guys, I say it all the time, but you have no idea the amount of work that guys like Sam Schwartz, Jimmy the Wiz Olsen do off air that you guys don't see, and you just show up here on a Sunday night, turn on your YouTube feed, and there's HD 1080p quality broadcast coming your way. There's just so many people behind the scenes to thank. So appreciate you guys, but certainly takes a team.
State selection show we had at 6 p.m. Max had to be on a flight by 8:15. That's commitment.
I joked it felt like being Kirk Herbstreit. I had a waiting for me outside.
From Oregon to wherever the heck he went after that.
Got through security in about 5 minutes and actually was able to get a beverage before I boarded, all in about a 30-minute span there.
Yeah, Luke, I gave Max a little bit of a heart attack, though, that night. I was also traveling for work. And
here comes Cam Bear. He's on a breakaway to try to make it a 5-0 game. Bear to the forehand. He scores! Well, the Red Lions cherry on top. 52.9 to go. And the clock will run out this game when they drop the puck next.
Yeah, just a turnover in the neutral zone there. Bear, just some great speed. Picks his spot. He's able to beat the goaltender on the blocker side. And as you mentioned, the clock will continue to run as they drop the puck, even if there's a whistle to close out this game.
York will have one last minute of their SHL season. And the St. Viator Lions, they know it. Look at their students. And the York Dukes, they feel it on their bench. 50 and counting to go. What a year it has been for St. Viator. Their Cahill Crazies fan base, their families, and older fans as well. A high school program around since 1972. They've had 6 Elite 8 state finishes since 2012. But getting over that hump, and they start on the right track here. The SHL and state tournament, 2 different things, but both very important to a school and their ability to be prolific. 10 seconds left to go. Lions already a leg over their bench. Final seconds, and for the first time since 2020, the St. Viator Lions right on to the SHL final.
Yeah, Luke, in dominant fashion, too, again. Another game where they score over 3 goals, and Calder Turpin just looks unbeatable right now. 29 of 29 shots tonight. A few big saves there to keep that goose egg there for the Lions, and they continue on, and we'll see who they play next later on in the next game between New Tree Green and Loyola Gold, but they look primed for their first SHL championship.
And they will be the host as the number 1 seed. Don't go anywhere yet. We've got our post-game interview brought to you by Loyola Academy Hockey, a tradition of winning. But the handshake line commences first, and after so much bad blood through 102 minutes of this series, it is incredible to see the classiness between both sides, toning it down and congratulating each other.
It's one of the beautiful things about our game is you go to battle with the team for X amount of games, and at the end of it, you shake hands, and everyone's so cordial and classy, like you mentioned. It's just one of the beautiful parts of the game of hockey.
Well, we had a feeling that this guy was going to be the interviewee. He stopped, now, what is that? 51 shots on...
There you go, doing math again, Luke.
Yeah, slowly but surely. 51 saves on 51 shots in this series. 2 back-to-back shutouts, I can say the word now, for Calder Turpin down at ice level.
Calder, you've got 2 shutouts back-to-back in the SHL playoffs. Luke Jordan added them up. 51 saves over these 2 performances. What's it been like in goal these last 2 games?
You know, it's been electric. For me, this is a very personal game. Last year on V2, Sweet 16, we lost to York in the playoffs. We got the All-State game. Another overtime loss. It kind of hurts, I got that kind of feeling stuck in my gut. I don't want it to happen again.
You guys are the number 1 seed in the playoffs, the number 1 seed in the SHL. You're steamrolling through these playoffs. What's the key to the rest of this season for you guys?
I mean, the key is just team play. Our biggest problem has been those point shot tip-ins. We've been doing a great job clearing the front, Keeping penalties to a minimum is for sure going to be our main goal because 5-on-5, we're unstoppable.
Calder, good luck. Go celebrate with your teammates.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Luke, back up to you.
Thank you, Max. What a touching interview there. Calder Turpin talking about, this was the goalie room. Him and Joey Sclafini, each on the varsity 2 team last year. When St. Viator's varsity 2 team had their season ended by York's varsity 1, they took them to overtime, and Turpin allowed just 1 goal that came in that overtime period. He stood on his head, him and Sclafini both in separate state games. And now those 2 with the rest of the crew, some newcomers to this varsity 1 squad as well, coming from that very team, getting to soak in the moment. But they also know you're on to the SHL final. The job is not finished there, and you have to remember York could very much be coming back for your tail in the state semifinals if they get there.
Yeah, and you can tell by his interview, he knows that there is a good chance that they will see this York team in just a few weeks in that semifinal game. They wanted to make a statement tonight. They did just that, and as you mentioned, they're on to the SHL finals.
Want to give a big thanks to our entire crew helping out here with the opening of 2 broadcasts on this Sunday evening. Don't forget, New Tree Loyola coming up next. It's on a separate link here on the SHL Network YouTube channel. But lastly, Wes, Calder Turpin, St. Viator, they're on to the final. What can we prepare to see from them in some even bigger games down the docket? I
mean, they're just playing with so much speed. They almost seem unbeatable, as he mentioned right now. The only way to slow them down is to honestly get pucks past the one person that we interviewed tonight, Calder Turpin, which is such an easier thing said than done. So, Luke, we're going to get this. We're going to be a part of the broadcast for the second game. So it's going to be exciting to see who this Viator team will take on. right now I'm thinking it might be this New Trier team, but the Loyola goal team, do not count them out by any means.
Cannot.
Charlie Trapp is an amazing goaltender. We might get an amazing goalie duel.
We might get the top two in the state.
If Loyola is able to come back and win 2 back-to-back, so we'll see. But right now, Viator just looks like they're unbeatable.
For our entire crew, want to give a quick shout-out to Jamie Olson as well, the Wizard. He was notching the sticks while we were watching this action right here. St. Viator with one big parade in front of their student section. They're headed to the SHL final for the first time in 6 years. For Max Anderson, Wes Anderson, and myself, Luke Jordan, we sign you off with this very video. St. Viator 5, York nothing, as the Lions are on to the championship game. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one in T-minus 15 minutes.